Hello, everyone, again, and welcome back on Level of AI. Today is the last day of our talks during OpenAI Hackathon, and right now with us we have Simon Olsen, who will be talking about pitching and how to actually pitch. He is a partner manager at New Native, and as we have day about presentation regarding how to present your project, how to actually pitch. So today, Simon will be talking about that. So welcome on the stage. How are you doing? Hello, hello.
I, I am good. I am good. Thank you for having me.
Sure. So now stage is yours. You can start
Oh, really?
with your
Okay, I
session,
can
your
just
talk.
start. That's fine.
Yeah,
That's all right. Okay, so let me do a little bit of warming up here and then jump into the pitch. But so my name is Simon, and I am one of the co-founders of New Native and LabLab. So that's been working on this for quite some time now, and we seem to pick up quite a lot of traction, which is super fun to see. This morning I saw that we had 18,000 users or something like that now on the platform, which is staggering given the fact that we started just this summer. Um, but yeah, today's session will be a little bit about how you could pitch yourself, what the soft skills involved with pitching are, and what to think about, because it's not completely obvious, especially if you are like me and is quite down to the code. So uh, I'd say that a couple of things that I believe in, like guiding principles, is make things that people love. That's the most important thing that you could ever do, and it goes for pitching as well, right? So whenever you pitch something, it should shine through the fact that you are making something worth noticing. Um, and the way to go about that is to make sure that the people who actually use you or use your service, actually get value out of it. So that's what we are trying to achieve with LabLab as well when we build up our own platform, and it stays true for basically all the things that I've built throughout my career. So important thing to keep in mind: make things that people love. But just a little bit about my background before we dive into to pitching. So I've worked with quite a lot of the accelerator programs in the States as a venture partner and mentor. I've also had the opportunity to build a small venture out of MIT, and also a couple other things. So built a little investment fund and uh, built a pretty big AI hackathon before LabLab. So uh, have been in the space for quite some time. Um, and yeah, now we're sort of homing in on the fact that we see so much innovation in this AI space that's really staggering to watch, and we're just trying to play our part here to help you innovate even faster and become more potent as a developer, and then ultimately as an entrepreneur. Um, The thing to keep in mind now, when my perspective on this, when it comes to pitching, is through venture capital perspective, right? So understanding what people from the venture capital industry kind of look at when they look at funding different kinds of ventures. And I'm sure parts of you already has experience with it, but for those of you who aren't, I'll just briefly go through what it is. So venture capital is its own asset class, right? And it's the equity asset class. You can, as an investor, you can invest in a lot of things. You can buy cash, which is probably the worst thing you can buy, especially now. You can buy equity, so parts of companies, or you can buy fixed income stuff, or you can buy real estate or commodities. And the point here is that this equity asset class, it's very dynamic, right? Because it's quite hard to predict what the value of an idea or a startup or even a large corporate is. But there are some certain tools that people in the space as investors use. The biggest one is that risk equals reward, and there are uh, a little bit of a sideline here between venture capital and other investors such as private equity. venture capital, you have very, very, very high expectations on people, right? What the startups you invest in, what they should be able to perform, the level is quite high, right? So usually you expect the company to grow within a couple of years in a magnitude of like 10x. So if I put in money into your hypothetical startup, in 5 years' time, I probably expect it to be worth about 10 times as much, right? As opposed to putting it into the stock market where you expect something like a 10% growth year over year. So you can probably end up at 2.4-ish x or something like that. So it's quite a lot of big difference. So you're more inclined to take risk in this space. So in order to make a good pitch in this space, there are a couple of things that you should think about, right? And in order to first set the scene, to be able to get to a point where you'd be interesting for an investor, you need to get to almost a unicorn level of a company. So you need to think big from the get-go, and that sort of creates the narrative in your head that you need you can't only just build a widget, you need to be able to scale that widget into something bigger. And for an investor, a minimum case when they look at a startup is to go from like $10 million valuation to a $100 million valuation. And in a really good case, you'd go to a unicorn. But how do you actually scale your little widget that you just built into a unicorn? It's hard, right? And the way that most people go about this is by pressing on three different factors. They press on the fact that there's a huge market opportunity. And this little thing that you've built is solving a little part of the huge market problem. But the point is that you can scale it from that little problem set to a much, much bigger one. So market is very important to include when you pitch something. The second thing is to pitch your team, your experience. So why you are uniquely qualified to solve this problem and build this into a big business. The third thing that a lot of people sort of tend to press on is the strategic fit or traction. So if you have built something, you have users using your widget, and they come back for more, or they give you good feedback or stuff like that, it's something that you want to highlight, right? Because it shows you that you are on your way to make something bigger, and it also shows that you can take in feedback and you can learn and you can improve on that. In terms of structure, usually what you want to include is like a little blurb, and then an executive summary, and then a pitch. So a blurb is something from the media industry, which is 2 or 3 sentences that describes the problem that you're solving and how you're solving it. So an example up on the screen now is a company that looked for a long time ago from Y Combinator called Satchel, and they make it easy to rent out unused office space. They remove all the work of monthly subleasing, signing NDAs, vetting insurance, and access control. And they make subleasing your office as easy as renting an apartment on Airbnb. So that's kind of tells you exactly what they're doing, and it tells you the sort of narrative of the entire idea and how that would scale. And there's certainly a market for this, right? So to reverse engineer this, you need to do something similar, right? You need to quickly be able to phrase what you're building and why you're building it, and the problem that you're solving, and what the people on the other hand side stems to earn by using your tool to solve the problem. The second thing is an executive summary, and that's just a one-pager, which is usually referred to as an investment memo, where you describe your idea, your product, your team, and your business sort of more in depth. So a paragraph each, approximately. And there are plenty of good resources out there. I usually use the ones from Y Combinator because I think they're sort of good structure for them. And then finally, the pitch. Right? What should you put in a pitch? What's a good pitch? Well, there are a couple of things you should include. And this is usually done through a slide deck, right? You should want to have a company purpose. You want to have a problem, solution, a why now slide, marketing size, competition, a demo, a business model, a team, and then some financials. And you usually want to paint a narrative throughout the pitch deck. So using something called action titles, right? So you actually type out the exact thing that you want people to read, so they can just read the titles and understand the content. And under each headline. You just want the supporting evidence that shows that you are on a growth trajectory and what you're doing makes sense and what you've built and all that. For the purposes of this hackathon, I think one of the most important things is to be able to quickly phrase the problem, phrase the solution and the marketing side, sort of why now, and then show an actual demo. Because once you show how your widget works, preferably with a nice UI, you can quite quickly understand it or comprehend what you've built. And there are plenty of good examples out on LabLab that, posited the earlier winners from pre-existing hackathons that has good narratives, good stories, and good pitches for that you can look at. So definitely go through that and just have a think. Um, Something that you should remember is that most pitches look something like this, right? Every founder sort of gets down to it and just start blowing their horn, just batting out their information to every investor. And the point is that most investors they don't have an interest in your area. So if you were to randomly hit 100 investors, you probably just end up with 20 or something interested in what you're building. So it's a numbers game in a sense. So usually, what a good strategy to figure out who you should talk to is to look at make a short list of like 20 or 10 investors that you would really like on your cap table that you think would provide additional value to your company or hypothetical company widget. Um, it might not be the biggest brand names, and that's fine because biggest brand names are sometimes quite hard to work with. But ideally, someone who could actually help you on your journey to figure out product market fit or get your product into market. So that's what I would sort of focus on if I were your shoes to choose who I would talk to. Um, Final thing is really down to the soft skill, right? Because it's as much as it is a pitch, it's also about listening to the other counterparty. It's almost like dating in a sense. You want to figure out who the person on the other side is, and you also want to make sure that you understand their pain point and what they're looking for, because pretty much every investor has their own investment thesis, and some may only do like data management, some may only do sustainability tech in specific regions, and some may only do like Acceler graduates from Y Combinator or graduates from MIT or whatever. The point is really that everybody is not to be your investor, and the way you figure that out is by listening. So instead of just diving straight into actually ask people to start slow, ask what's your intro, what's your background, what's your backstory, what do you look for, what would constitute a good case, and all that before you start spending a lot of time explaining what you're doing, because it really varies. A couple of things that just from this short 15-minute call say that there's a couple of things you can do, especially in this pitch as well, right? You can show some traction. How many people are using your widget, and how well is it working? If nobody's using it, how well is it working? Um, what's the hit rate of what you're solving for, and how big is the market? And then the second thing is, do you have a good team, right? Describe why you're suited to do this. Like if I were to pitch myself, and which we do for LabLab sometimes, I'd say that I've done one of the largest AI hackathons in the past. I've also been a part of a bunch of accelerator programs to help people figure out how to move forward. And same with our co-founders. Like, for instance, Matthias, he has a world record in reinforcement learning. So he's very suited to build things in AI. So those kinds of stuff are easy to remember, and it's easy to also tell in a coherent story. And then in the end, it's about knowing exactly what you're building, right? Know your shit. And I think this goes for an entire, like regardless of what you're doing, you need to sort of understand exactly what you're doing, how you're doing it, in order for it to be credible to other people. So make sure you spend some time thinking through all the facets of your widget, not only the code base or your team or the progress, but what will you do moving forward to make this into something more people will be able to use. Um, that's the entire game. Um, so with that, that's a little bit in terms of what I think are important when you do a pitch. It's a couple of things in terms of soft skills as well. So remember to listen to people as opposed to just tooting your horn. Um, and then it's just practice, right? So just try it out. Try as many things as you can to as many people as possible. See if they get it, and if they do, then great. You can sort of move on. Have those conversations for real. It's very hard to do it for the first time if you haven't tried. So try, and then iterate. So
Yeah,
that's me.
thanks, Simon. Oh, thanks a lot. It was such nice, speech. And I'm personally I love this, pitching things, but I had experience mostly about kind of pitching myself as a person, as an expert in some field, not like a company. But do you remember your first ever pitch you did?
Well, yes, actually I do. And this was a very, very, very long time ago. So I was about, I think I was 9 or 10-ish, and we
Okay.
we were doing a community project from a
Mhm.
super small town outside in the countryside, and we realized through a friend's mother who was in the like municipality board of investments or whatever that if we talked to them and we sort of pitched uh, you know uh, some community project, we could actually get money to do that. So we came up with a brilliant idea to pull together trampoline club out in the bushes, which we were like you know
Okay.
20 kids growing up
Mm-hmm.
there, and we didn't have any place to hang out, and people just didn't expect us to do anything but stay home, right? So we figured that we could probably get $5,000 or something like that to buy trampolines. So we created an entire pitch for it with some evidence like we don't have anything to do here, it's boring, but a trampoline
Mm-hmm.
would definitely solve that problem. And we got a meeting at the local municipality office, and we we went up to the place. We got like 30 minutes, and then got to introduce ourselves. Our parents were outside, cheering us on, and
Mm-hmm.
we managed to get that money. That was kind of a it was an aha moment for me where I figured that if we're just good enough explaining what we want and what we want to do,
Mm-hmm.
then that really takes us quite far.
Yeah, that's totally true. Sometimes, people usually want to benefit, so we need to explain them how they can also do that. I remember
Yes.
I just, accidentally, not accidentally, but I still have it. I like put, a QR code on my blocking screen. So anyone asks me like, what are you doing? I was like, not telling, but I was like, scan it. So it depends like how creative you can go. But I think when you're
Yeah.
talking about investments and big investments, it will not work out this way. You need to be like
Oh, you'd
prepared
be
for sure.
surprised. I mean,
Yeah.
the entire crypto space has basically been up on the fact that you can so easily invest, right? By just popping up a QR code and say that we're building cool stuff, and then not say anything else. On the flip side of
Yeah.
that, I guess
Sometimes.
yeah, crypto market has more or less collapsed. So I don't know.
Not anymore. Yeah, so it depends. Like you can go really crazy with that somehow. Depends. You can always find, the person who will invest in you if you're good enough. Yeah, or you
Yes,
present
yes,
yourself. So I guess that's it for your speech, right? Thank you so much for sharing. It was such a nice experience, and I think it will be really useful for our participants as they are going to submit their projects tomorrow. They still have time. You all still have time till tomorrow, 23:59 in the evening, to submit your projects. It's been whole week of building and creating cool stuff. So guys, make sure that your presentation is really, really, really nice, and you can actually pitch because then there will be winner announcement stream where you will be able
yeah.
to pitch actually. So you need to be
Make it
prepared for
easy, make
sure.
it sweet, and just go with
Yeah.
it. Show us what you've built.
Yeah, so thanks again, Simon. I think we'll be jumping to another talk, which will be about tips and tricks, actually, how to make your presentation much more better. But yeah, uh, it will be happening in a few minutes, guys. So stay tuned, and
I'm ready
we're
actually,
coming.
Lisa.
You're ready?
Hi.
Okay,
Yes, I am.
perfect. Hey, hey, Alessia. Ah, I was not sure you're here, but you're here.
Yes.
It's amazing. I will announce a bit so while Alessia is getting ready. So right now, our social media marketing manager, event manager, and a person who does a lot and is a big, big, big part of actually Lab Lab AI and Native and actually our company. And the person who's always there for you, it's Alessia. She will be talking today about tips and tricks actually how to do your presentation better. Because actually we are those people who go in through presentations, and there are some tutorials from our side how to make it better. But right now Alessia will tell you or all her secrets, but or not all yet, about how to make actually presentation really cool and really nice. So Alessia, stage is yours, and yeah, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for warm introduction. And I'm happy to welcome everybody here on presentation day, which means that we have almost the final day of our hackathon, as very soon you will have time to submit your solutions. And I'm here actually to tell you how to make it better and how to make your presentation work to our standards. And for judges, it will be much more easier to check. So click, and we are moving to the most important part from our site, which is the keep your presentation no longer than 5 minutes. Don't try to speed it up. Don't try to make some like uh, not user-friendly recording. Make it nice and make it no longer than 5 minutes. So it should be like short pitch when you will show us everything which is the most important for the presentation. I will list it on the next slides, but still keep it no more than 5 minutes, because just imagine that we have around like 50 submissions and we need to watch all of them. So please, no longer than 5 minutes. And now we are moving to the structure. Um, Now I will talk firstly about the structure of your video presentation when you need to create a PDF file and then to present it. And then I will move to the structure of submission itself. Let's start with video. So introduction. Start with telling about you as a speaker and about your team. Who is your team members and what's your background? You may also mention some specific details or some challenges, your locations if you want, but the most important part here is the names and the background for us to understand with whom we are talking. And the next point is the problem and solution. So that's basically what you was working on, like for the 7 days. So just describe the problem you covered and how did you decide to solve it with your product. And moving the next, we see the technical details, which means that you need to explain to our judges and to people who will be more from technical side and relate to your product how you actually build it, which technologies you use, and a very good practice is to put the structure of your product, the architecture, on the slide so we may see how complex your project actually is. And for sure, the most interesting part of the technical details, which is the product demo. Um, you need to show us how we can play with your project. You need to go to your website if you have a website, or go to the demo page and start interacting with your product for us to see how users can actually feel when they are using your product. Excuse me. Yeah, and the last but not the least, and this business model. And I can explain that why you need it, and actually not every project needs the business model. If you're planning to commercialize your project, if you're planning to go further, if you want to find an investor, build a business with it, yes, you need a business model. For us, it's very important to know that you have the understanding how your project may look like in the future. And if people from side of the partners or from our side would be interested in helping you with the further other development or would be interested in supporting you in any way we can, we need to know that you understand how you can make business actually from this project. So put some time and think about your customer, think about the how you can make money actually from this project, for whom it can be useful, and how you may sell it, and put it into business model. Moving next, and here I have some software for you to know like how to record actually the video. Yes, I want to check if I'm covering something. You may check it here now. Here's the software that you may use to record your presentation, but it can be OBS, which is probably the easiest way, or you can use simple recording on Google Meet. But what is really important is to make sure that the quality of picture and of all the graphic on the presentation and the quality of your video and sound is pretty good, because on the winner announcement stream, if you'll be in top 5 projects, we need to play your video submission in front of judges, so it should be really good. And moving next, I prepared for you very easy, simple submission checklist for you to don't mess out while you prepare your submission. Super easy. So project description and project title. Project title is probably the easiest way, but project description, try to make it short and try to make it as descriptive as possible. It's your pitch but written by text, and we need to read it. From the first sentence, understand how it can be helpful for people. Because usually the first point when we evaluate your project is actually this project description without even checking the video or demo of the project. Then it's a presentation for sure. We need a presentation in case you need to present it in front of us. You may use this presentation then for presenting in front of investors or people who will be able to support you with your project. So make sure you have a really good structured presentation, and how to create a good structure you actually have on the slides before. And then is record the video, pre-record the video actually. Using this presentation, it's a requirement to have a pre-recorded video of your presentation, so everybody can go and check what's your idea and how your project may work. And project demo link, which is probably the most important criteria to find the winner of the hackathon and top project. We can't accept your project into an evaluation process if you do not have the demo link. Demo link is the link for your project when we can go and play. Actually, we on the kickoff stream listed you a few platforms that you can use for it. It can be Streamlit or Replit. We know them and we can recommend them actually to build with, but you can use whatever platform you want. Just make sure that the terms is okay for you. And yeah, and the GitHub repo. A lot of questions in the chat and in private messages regarding GitHub repo. Some teams don't want to share their GitHub repo link, which is okay. If you want to make a private branch on GitHub, that's not the problem. But here's the thing. We don't know when you started work on your project. We know some like cheaters who started working a week before, or it's like a really old project they just want to present once again from previous hackathons. So we need to make sure that everything is working correctly and everything is fair, and you need to provide our judges and mentors with the access to this link to go and check the code and check the date of creation this project. So it's really important for us. And without access for our judges and for our mentors to this GitHub repo, we can't take you into account on evaluation process. So, excuse me, guys. Yeah, and to have the list of emails you need to give access to, contact Nasty. Yes, let's go next. And it's really not so obvious, not so, like necessary. Okay, not necessary. I mean, it's not a requirement from our side, but it's good for you to have. Just imagine that you have really good project, even if you want a hackathon, And you have on our website kind of portfolio of your project that you built with AI. And let's say some investors want to go through projects and check the one that he wants to support. He's checking the project, he really liked the idea, he wants to support you, and he didn't find your Discord or your LinkedIn to contact. So the first thing I want to say you before you are making the submission, make sure that all your profile information is filled out. Your LinkedIn link, if it's possible, Twitter link or Instagram, connected Discord. Without connected Discord, we also can't evaluate you. And I see in the chat there is some problems with sound. Do you still hear me or not? Guys, let me know please in the chat because I see it near me. Okay. And I see the question also. Yeah, sure, you can get my presentation after the session. We can, Nasti can share it with you in general chat in the PDF. Um, yeah, I still don't see any answers regarding the sound, but I see that the microphone works correctly. Can I please just to make the sound a bit, yeah, give me please the opportunity.
Also, it works.
It works on Twitch as well? Now it's better. Fine. Okay. I will continue. So yeah, the important stuff is to fill out all the information before you're planning to submit your project because without it, it even doesn't make sense. And um, and yeah, what I just mentioned is make sure that your LabLab profile is connected to Discord. Last time we had an issue when we chose top five teams, and we was contacting everybody, and one of the team didn't have connected Discord. We was trying to connect in other ways we have, like an email or just to find this person on LinkedIn. We have like zero success. So the person can win the hackathon was a really good project, but they didn't connect the Discord and any like contact information for us to somehow contact with them and to give them this good news that they might be the winners. And it's really sad when you like put a lot of effort in your project and you just fucked up in a very like small tiny detail as connection to Discord. Make sure your Discord is connected to your profile on LabLab, and that will be good. And basically, that's it. I want to wish you to have fun and innovate with AI in our OpenAI Hackathon this week. I wish you have a good time making the submissions, making these videos, and yeah, that's basically. Thank you so much for joining me for this tricks and tips for your presentation. If you have any question, you may find me on Discord. I'm Alessia there, and you may contact Nasty or Tech Mentors in general chats. And as well, this presentation will be on a general chat for everybody of you to chat and to make sure that their presentations are best suited to our rules. Thank you so much, and I'm giving the word to Lisa.
Thank you so much, Olesa. That was intense, and I enjoyed it so much. Thank you again. And it was nice seeing you. It was nice hearing you as always. And yeah, thank you again, guys, for joining us for today. Everything as Olesa said, you can find later on Discord. You can contact us also via Discord. And remember really to kind of finalize all of the details because as she said, you can really build some cool stuff but you will miss this little tiny detail, and then at the end we just cannot judge you 100% well, I would say. So yeah, thanks again everyone to for joining us and for being with us today. Wish you a great time. You're on this final line of submitting your project and actually, finalizing everything. So great luck and success. Wish you all. Just, fingers crossed for everyone and see you hopefully soon. Also, as a reminder, tomorrow we are starting 7 days semantic search hackathon, so also you can feel free to join. But anyway, wish you a great evening, great building, and see you soon.